To see it all over again. I want to apologize to the public for the fact that we don't have our audio or our visual portion of our meeting online. We're having technical difficulties here, but as I understand it, the audio is coming through loud and clear. So we're going to proceed with the Board of Directors special meeting for Thursday, August 25th, 2022 at 1 p.m.
We've got visual.
All right.
All right, there we go. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Could I have a roll call, please?
Director Sewell,
Here.
Director Grasha,
Here.
Vice President Wright,
Here.
President Martin.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Okay. This is the on public input. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters within the board's jurisdiction. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. State law prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the agenda. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak today?
Not that wish to make public comment.
Okay. Moving on to item 4, resolution 2022-23, authorizing an agreement for grant funding with the State Water Resources Control Board for the Regional Water Reclamation Program. It is recommended the board adopt resolution 2022-23 and authorize the general manager to execute the agreement for grant funding with the State Water Resource Control Board for the Mission Springs Water District Regional Water Reclamation Program. Brian, do you want to?
Well, I'm online. I'd like to make a few comments and then I turn it to Brian to go over the
Okay, go ahead.
report. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I think this really is a long time coming, and I want to thank the President Martin and the board, especially the board over the last 10 years. I see Jeff is on the line. You know, today you have in front of you the grant agreement for the Regional Water Reclamation Facility and the accompanying regional conveyance line and the M2 septic to sewer project. The funding for these projects totaling $68 million is being provided by the State Budget Act of 2021 and Proposition 1 and the Water Quality Supply and Infrastructure Improvement Act of 2014 through an agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board. And as you know, and as we've had in front of you dozens of times, this began over a decade ago. It started with Mike Thornton and I've got to say Steve Ledbetter of TKE and I trying to put this together. We began this with a meeting with Fran Spivey Weber, who Nancy knows quite well. And we put together a program under the Small Communities Grant program. And this project was hopefully going to get an $8 million grant out of that. But the design of this project all the way through has to be done very carefully. Shortly after that, we rounded up another $8 million grant. And then finally, as we just went through the list here, we came up with grant funding that you're going to vote on today. And I have to thank Mike and Steve and my wonderful staff for being tenacious over this last decade. Like I said, this wasn't very easy to put together, but at the end of the day, this project has many aspects that all culminate into preparing the communities we serve for the future. This project will provide protection for our groundwater. It'll expand our service area. It will provide advanced treatment. It will help abate and avoid septic tanks and individual treatment systems. It'll provide us with reuse water for the Mission Creek subbasin that far exceeds what any other program we have available to us now. This is going to be our future. And I want to conclude by saying thanks, and I see Jeff Bowman is here, and all of the other board members that have helped put this thing together, including the present board members. You are the ones that led us through this project, and we could not have done it without your leadership. So I will hand this over to Brian to explain to you exactly what we need done today, and want to thank you very much. Brian, you want to take it from there?
Yes, thank you, General Manager. President Martin, members of the board, staff, the item you have in front of you is authorizing the general manager to enter into a funding agreement with the State Water Resource Control Board. There is a resolution that is required for us to execute this agreement. It is a glorious day for the district. We were just talking about it earlier today between Steve and I. Very rarely do you have anything over 10 or $15 million, and to get 68 million is just absolutely fantastic. It is a great opportunity. A lot of things had to come together, but we've always been in line to get some type of grant funding. And fortunately, we were enough to be there at the right time. The surplus that was at the state level and all of those great things came together. But without the leadership of this board, this project's been going on for a lot of years. It's absolutely fantastic. The one issue that you see in here that may be confusing to some, it is in the document as a West Valley Water Reclamation Program, not what we're calling it the Regional Water Reclamation Program now, but that is just one of those things. We've been in the queue for so long. We changed the name of the project over 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We just didn't want to change it with the state to put us or change our position in line. So with that being said, there are a lot of people that have put their heart and soul into this project, to this grant specifically. We have Steve Ledbetter on the line. We have Danny here in the boardroom, myself, Arturo from a financial perspective. Open up to any questions from the board at this point.
Okay, any questions from the board? Nancy?
No questions, but just thank you. I ditto what you all said, ditto what Arden said, and thanks to all the staff. Arden, thank you and all your staff. This has been a long go, and I think maybe even more than a decade. Well, for me, when we bought the property, I don't know, back in the 90s somewhere, and then we tunneled under I-10 to put the lines under I-10 along with Edison. At one time they were doing it, so we kind of tagged on with them. So it's been a long haul. I'm just so pleased and very excited about this for our community. It definitely will help us to protect our groundwater and make it more sustainable and reliable. So thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Director Grasha.
I have a couple of questions. As you know, I made the motion to approve this, authorize its construction.
No, he wasn't asked.
Excuse
I
me.
want to make the motion.
Excuse me, ma'am. Could you get your board member under control then?
Go ahead, Mr. Grasha.
Thank you. Normally on a project of this magnitude, we would have the benefit of legal counsel at the meeting. I wondered if there was a reason that legal counsel is not present.
Didn't think it was necessary. It's a special meeting. And we just needed to move this thing forward.
I see you've got an increase from 5% to 10%, and that's the question I would ask legal counsel. My understanding is that the state's limitation is a 5% contingency, and I see we're raising it to 10%, and I wondered if that it puts us in conflict with any state law. And fortunately, we don't have we got to go with a layman's opinion here, and I don't know whose opinion we're going by and how this ends up here, but without the benefit of legal counsel, I just want somebody to guarantee that this has been run by people smarter than anyone in this room, and that it meets the state laws as they're written.
Yes, okay. I should probably have mentioned earlier that council has reviewed this thoroughly from several aspects. We've been vetting this for a long time, and over the last week we've run it by John Pinckney and Slovak Baron and MP. We've run it by our bond counsel. Every single legal analysis that we needed to do has been accomplished. So to answer your question is yes, it has been reviewed by legal counsel, and the 10% is not a problem with them.
I don't know who the bond counsel's attorney is, since we're not utilizing any bonding to bring this thing to a close here.
But we were going to when we started the project, so we needed to make sure that we
This increase
closed
is-
out on that.
Right, okay, so this increase is something that happened recently to go from 5% to 10%. And the bond counsel wouldn't have had any input on that was at least a year or two ago. So I just want it clear that I'm not entirely comfortable with that. Let the record reflect that. And with that, I'll make the motion to approve it.
No,
Well, we don't-
this isn't the point right now because I want to hear from the other board members. But before we
and I
go
might-
on, excuse me, before we
I'm
go
sorry.
on, Brian has a comment that he wants to make
Yeah.
concerning what you bring up.
This is for, these comments, excuse me, and Brian, you can add to this. This is actually for the next agenda item that he's speaking to.
Absolutely. Thank you, General Manager. Director Gracia, on page 17 of your packet, it talks about the breakdown of funding and where the contingency is actually located. The contingency that you're making reference to is actually specific to the reclamation facility, not the entire project. So we do have the ability to increase the contingency on the construction of the regional plant, and it stays within the $68 million grant that you see in front of you. And to piggyback on that, we have run both of these items through council, so they are aware of what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Director Sewell, do you have any comments?
No questions, but just to echo Director Wright's comments of thank you to the staff and past board members and everyone that's been a part of this. You know, Desert Hot Springs was named the fastest growing city in our valley. So it's very important that we get this going, and I'm just very proud to be a part of it. And we can meet the growth and the needs that our community has. So thank you.
Okay, Vice President Wright, do you have a question or
Yeah,
comment?
I'd just like to make a motion to approve item number 4 on our agenda today.
We already
Okay, and I'll,
Authorizing the agreement
we
for
already
grant
have a
funding with the
motion on
state
floor, Mayor.
with
And I'll-
resources
and I'll-
control
and I'll-
board.
We
and I'll
already
second
have
it.
a motion on the floor.
We have a motion and a second.
we have a motion and a second. Dory, did you get that?
Yes, I did, sir.
Okay, and could we have a roll call vote, please?
With pleasure. Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Gracia,
Yes.
Vice President Wright,
Aye, and yes, and everything else that means positive.
and President Martin.
Yes,
It is my pleasure to say motion passes.
outstanding. All right.
Hey, congratulations, everybody. Big congratulations. If we had some sparkling soda or something, well, we should toast with water.
Yeah, there you go.
President Martin,
Yes,
I also want to say that I do want to say thank you to the state for their working with us, because they've been really helpful.
Bring your
in-
meeting under order. You're distracting the camera. Director Wright.
Just to finish that, I want to thank the state, and for what they've helped us with in getting this grant through and getting this project forward, because it means a lot to this disadvantaged community. And that's all. Thank you.
yeah. Mr. Ledbetter, do you have a comment you'd like to make?
No comments that have not already been shared by the rest of the directors and staff. We're just really happy to finally be here. It's been a long road, a lot of effort on all parties involved, and I really just thank you to the board for supporting it and having faith in the project, and that the funding was going to come through to keep the project moving forward on schedule. And that was really critical to have this project and have it be ready when the district needs it to fulfill its wastewater treatment needs. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Ledbetter. Moving on to item 5, approve contract amendment number 1 with J.F. Shea Construction Incorporated for the construction of the regional water reclamation facility. Is recommended to authorize the general manager to approve the contract amendment number 1 with J.F. Shea Construction Incorporated for the construction of the regional water reclamation facility, augment at the capital improvement budget amount to $53,300,000 $49,300 for job number 11424, and to do all things necessary to complete the project. The construction amendment would increase of the construction contingency from 5% to 10%, increasing the contract amount to $2,049,300 from $43,035,300 to $45,084,600. General Manager Wallem.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to Brian, and then I bet he's got to have the engineers give you a background here. So,
Okay.
Thank you,
Brian?
General Manager. Yes, this is a change in contract for the Regional Water Reclamation Facility. Director Grasha was having questions about going from a 5% to 10%. As some of you recall, that this facility was going to be constructed as 1.5 million gallon per day. However, we were not going to equip a certain part of the sequential batch reactor, only because we didn't think we needed the additional capacity. We designed it this way to give us the flexibility that we needed. However, what ended up happening during the final design, going through the bidding process, and then actually getting Shea under contract, as we can now officially call it, the Amazon project, happened. And with that coming online about the same time that this facility will be coming online, and knowing that there's going to be future growth around that area in a very quick time frame, we wanted to be ahead of that. And one of the parts of being ahead of that is increasing the size of this plant. It also has a lot of extra benefits with some of the way we can then move flow from the Horton plant down to the regional facility, so we can do some desperately needed maintenance at the Horton facility. So by equipping that fourth tank of our SBR will allow us to do that. That is really what's driving this change order, because it's roughly $1.9 million and our contingency was only $2 million. So because of those factors, we're coming back to the board now and asking to increase that by another basically $2 million to take care of all the other things that we may occur during construction. So far, we've been able to stay on task with them, even with some of the supply issues and things like that. Our CM contractor, TKE, Steve Ledbetter, has done a fantastic job in working with the contractor to make sure we stay on schedule to serve the Amazon facility specifically, but also meet our own needs. From that perspective, Steve is on the call if you have any questions regarding the construction or the need of this change order. But other than that, the item is in front of you and we'll be able to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Nancy? No? Director Grasha, any questions or comments?
Well, I just wanted to shed some light, having been involved in contracts, thousands of them, literally. We're limited by the state what we can, for instance, in the level I was dealing at, you're limited to 10%, of the full contract price. This takes us on from a public agency standpoint, takes us up to that level for another layer, if you will, and I'm concerned that we're limited as a public agency to 5%, whereas in private industry it's 10%, because you don't want to have to be going back and forth all the time. But I'm concerned that if it's determined later down the road, like cases I'm familiar with, where the state comes back and you have to answer to the court on what happened to a certain amount of money. It wasn't approved by the board, and here you're approving it in excess of what the state allows, and it just kind of makes things a little bit uncomfortable, knowing that the law prevents it from happening. So I think that without legal counsel here, it raises the question, why isn't he here again? And whenever anything like this comes up, it seems he's headed for the hills and we can't find him. And that has happened with this board many times, and those issues have come back to haunt us later. And I've only been here for 4 years. God knows what has gone on in years past that I'm not aware of. But I just want us to be cautious. And if staff is absolutely certain they're going to keep their eye on every penny on this project, then we're not going to end up getting laid open by criminal accusations or seeing money walk away for product that wasn't delivered, then I'm in favor of making a motion. But I want you to absolutely sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted on the checks that you guys start writing. I know you've got Teflon bearings on that check writing machine, and you're experienced at using it. So just make sure that these are things that are absolutely required. Thank you.
Dr. Sewell, do you have any comments?
No questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay, Nancy, you wanted?
I would just like to know what contract or what case or what organization that Director Grasha said that they got in trouble from going to 5 to 10%. Can you give us an example, Director Grasha?
It's a direct experience that I've had under
With what? Direct experience with what?
as a licensed contractor in the state.
Well, I'm a licensed contractor and I've
I
never
believe
heard
your
of that.
husband builds lean-tos and patio covers for people around town. It's hardly at the level
Well,
that we talk
houses,
about here.
we have a lot of houses and porches that we've built and I've never heard of that before. So I'm sorry.
Anyway, we're getting off track here. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve item 5.
So moved.
Okay, and do I have?
My second.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Sewell and a second by Vice President Wright. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Sewell,
Yes.
Director Grasha,
Yes.
Vice President Wright,
Aye.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay. Again, congratulations to the board and even members of the board of directors past that are not with us today, and one from the past that is with us today. So I want to thank you for your effort in helping to put this together. Okay, moving on to general manager's comments.
Yeah, I can assure you that we have run this through council and everything is as tight as it can be. And I really don't understand. I really don't exactly know what Director Grasha was getting at, but I can assure you that this project is being vetted by our legal counsel more than most. So I want to thank this board. I also want to thank the state, but I also want a special thanks to TKE, Steve Ledbetter, Mike Thornton, and especially my staff who've been helping me get this thing through. Brian has come on later, but he's been instrumental in putting this thing together at a crucial point. He and Steve Ledbetter have worked with the contractors and have made sure this thing goes through because, Brian is heading up the engineering department. And I just can't believe how well this came together. And of course, the fact that we are going to get a $68 million grant is more than enough proof that we know what we're doing. So thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Okay, moving on to director's comments. Director Sewell.
Yeah, I just want to add that when I was saying my thank yous, I did not thank Mr. Ledbetter and TKE. All the work you guys have done for all of our projects over the years have been top notch. So thank you to them, and just congratulations to everyone again. Really looking forward to getting this plant up and running.
And Director Grasha.
I have no questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay, Vice President Wright. I only want to make one comment. It's nice at this period of time when we have this terrific project moving forward that we finally have the board on the same page. We've had a board member who has fought this from the very beginning at all aspects of development of this, and it's nice to see that he's finally on board and approving this project. And with that,
Director,
we'll adjourn.
Martin. Sorry, just also a congratulations to Director Wright on her appointment.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If you wanted to. Confirmation
Confirmation. What was the
to the regional board.
to the regional board? Yes, congratulations. That was appointed by the governor and approved by the
Senate floor, 39-0 vote.
very, very, very good. Congratulations. All right. Sorry I didn't bring that up earlier. I'm so used to your accomplishments that it's kind of routine for you, but okay. All right. With that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.